Hey guys, MKS here again with part 2 of this video. Hope someone out there enjoyed part 1. I'll try and make it as fun and exciting, and interesting as possible. So I hope I do the best I can do. I talked about in part 1, like breath ready. I've been going up and downstairs, so making tea again. But I hope to. I talked about how I dreamed to go to Italy and talk about my football ideas, and also I have dyslexic groups going there, like especially in October next year, which is Dyslexia Awareness Month, to like talk about and maybe raise awareness of dyslexia, including not just the weaknesses but also the strengths, both including the weakness and the strengths of dyslexia, but in particular the strengths of dyslexia, including how dyslexic people can think of innovative ideas which could be used in sports like football. And I think a lot of research has been done to show that dyslexic people can, so not all of us, but can be good at sport, many of us. So anyway, sometimes you get overlapping conditions, so we might not always be great at sport. Like me, I have dyslexia and dyspraxia, so but I still love football. I don't know if I play very well, but I give it my best shot. But anyway, sorry, don't want to make the intros too long, so I'll crack on with my list, which I was going through. So point number 11, I dream to hear like from people, do like, if I could have the confidence in the future, like, or get more equipment and stuff like that, maybe like recording equipment, like also microphones and things like that. I'd love to go to people politely and ask them in the street, like, what do they know about Italian football? What do they think about Italian football? What would make them support Italian football? What do they think should change about Italian football? Both Italians themselves and other people who perhaps say Italian football is boring or too defensive, and talk about what could make it change. I perhaps should have included that more in the club. The videos I did about the club team rather than the club teams, rather than the national team. But anyway, I would talk about Italian football generally, like what they think could be done to improve it, like taking out the corruption or things like that. And again, any of those videos I'd use to buy football pitches, and well, I don't know if I'd get enough money to buy, but like these footballs or things like that for children in Italy. And things like that. Another thing, again, I might repeat some of these points, but I was saying like migration to Italy. I was saying like 3 groups that I think should be given priority in terms of migration situation in Italy. One are the migrants who come into the country legally. I think they should be given priority. Also, second point is those who have a talent for football who could benefit Italian football. And the third are people from countries like Ethiopia and Tunisia, which Italy tried to colonize. I think they should be given more rights to migrate, but especially those who could benefit Italian football, and also obviously those who are going to break the law and things like that. But I do, even though I'm a person of colour and I believe people of colour should work together, I think that migration should be done legally. I mean, that's a big topic in Italy. But anyway, so that's a little side note. But 12, I hope for Italians to be like, to encourage each other and to be united over Italian football, like to tackle issues like bullying through football, like where maybe even like go for a Guinness Book of Records where Italians see between them who can do them, like set records for the amount of keepy uppies or the amount of passes a group of people could have, like in an assembly, like each person passes the ball to each other, and it could be like a Guinness Book of Records for biggest participation in football or things like that. I know other countries could then try and compete, but hopefully Italy would be like the first and break all these records, like freestyle records and things like that. But like Italians and people of Italian descent to be united through football and to encourage each other and to make teams proud, proud again as it used to be, to borrow a phrase. As I said before, not that I'm a Trump fan or not that I'm politically supportive or against Trump or anything like that, but just to use that term, like make Italian football proud again, just like a little catchy jingle that could be shared into that, including in the schools and things like that. Point 13, I've often mentioned that 13 to me is an unlucky number. So I was thinking like my fears about people not taking my ideas seriously or not listening to my ideas, or my ideas not being as good as I think, or my ideas not working on like the negative things people say about Italians, like if they're quite arrogant or racist or prejudiced. And also like they don't want to, like if they're quite arrogant, they might not want to listen to other people's ideas or things like that. But yeah, so thought for 13 I'd include a negative one, like these ideas not being put into action or things like that, or as I say, my ideas not being as good as I would hope, or not being as good as I think, and things like that. Anyway, moving on swiftly to 14. I hope for Italian football to like solve the problems facing Italian football, the negative things. Like there could be, I was thinking like as a football fan and an Italian football fan, unfortunately both the sport I love, the organisation that runs the sport, which is FIFA, and the team I love, which is Italy, or the Italian teams, have been involved in like corruption scandals. So I thought it'd be quite interesting to turn that around, like have anti-corruption centres in Italy which look at how to tackle corruption in football, and maybe have independent bodies that make sure that corruption is tackled. And it tends to be better through practice, not through cheating or stuff like that. Would be another one of my dreams. And also like Italians to run lots of football matches to solve problems like I talked about before, about the flooding in Italy and France, northern Italy and southern France, unfortunately, to tackle those sorts of problems through football, like fundraise to offer any support for relief, to help as much obviously as possible. But yeah, solve problems through football matches, practicing and all that sort of stuff. Maybe if you practice more, you don't need to cheat as much or at all. 15, again, I hope for Italians to have the goal, to share the goal, that for it to make Italian football the greatest teams in the world, the greatest league in the world, and things like that, like to support companies that invest in Italian football, and to just be united, practicing with each other and supporting each other, encouraging each other to believe that Italian football can be number one. 16, I hope for Italians to keep practicing and improving, do the best they can, again to have more practice and to analyse and to learn from different countries and see what could be done to improve Italian football, and things like that. 17, I have to think of these, like I forgot to say in point 11 when I was thinking through my list. Before I was thinking that like a game I thought of where you have lots of leagues, sometimes miniature leagues, sometimes like as many teams in Italy as possible, from all different regions to practice against each other, and each goal, for those who know about football, obviously this video probably won't be that good for those who don't know about football, but for each goal you score you get a point. So if you play like 20 teams, you count how many goals you score aggregate, so it encourages more attacking football rather than defensive football. So that would hopefully change a lot of Italian football from defensive to more attack minded, because the younger, especially at youth level, like the younger players will learn like the more goals you score, the more point each goal is a point, rather than playing defensive. You can still have a bit of defensive work, but you also try and score more goals, because that will mean that you've got more chance of winning leagues. And you'll see, like, hopefully over time, if that was developed, it might take a bit of time, but you'll see the most successful teams will probably be the ones who go out and score goals rather than stop the opposition, rather than just defend, which kind of happens anyway in World Cups or leagues. I think the problem Italian football's had being defensive is it's like 3 points for a win and 1 for a draw. So sometimes Italian football's play for a draw, and that's, I think, and especially at club level as well, or probably just as much at the national level. But anyway, yeah. So I think of lots of games like that, like maybe even like at youth level, each pass you get a point for, or every player has to touch the ball before you score, or things like that. So I think a lot of little quirky games, but sometimes my imagination or my creativity, my ideas is like hard to explain. So I think my dyslexic sort of creative brain is like hard to explain to someone who, if you like, got a normal brain, if you want to give a non-PC version. But anyway, so I hope to somehow explain these games and ideas I wish to create to help Italians practice more. 18, I hope to accentuate all the positives of Italian football. For instance, 4 World Cups Italy have won. I think it was 1 European Cup, and look, like all the different colour and vibrancy and passion. I think, maybe I'm a bit biased, but I think Italian football clubs have the most colourful and exciting kits, the most sexy kits, if I can say that. I'm trying to keep it family friendly, but yeah, and also like the most, again, I might be biased here, but I think like the coolest names pretty much, certainly in Europe anyway. I don't know about some of the South American teams, but again, I might be biased about it, but yeah, trying to accentuate those positives and use the positives to bring pride back to the team, and like encourage people to support Italian football, and be ambassadors for the game. Again, looking at the positive sides of Italian football and lists of positives and how we can how Italian fans can help each other practice, things like that. 19. I hope to look at some of the problems facing Italian football again, how to improve them. Might have mentioned that point, so apologies if I'm repeating myself. But yeah, look at some of the things, the issues that face Italian football, and how we can challenge those things, and again learn from other countries. And 20 again, like supporting politicians which fund Italian football, like parks, football pitches, training facilities, and so forth. And I think it'd be cool imagine if Italians love football that much that they, using my imagination, again I'm talking about my dreams here, but so I know it's a bit idealistic, but imagine if Italians love football that much that they vote for a politician who will invest the most in football facilities, like training facilities in both indoor and outdoor, and different opportunities for youngsters, especially to play football. I think that covers part 2. I hope you enjoyed this, and you'll look out for part 3. And please let me know what you think. And even if you've got some sort of criticism, I'll try and if you kindly share it as well, like sort of any suggestions which sorry I can improve. I really appreciate it. Peace and love. Hope you have a great day.